Hey friend, I'm so happy you have made your way to this video. Listen, this conversation coming up is about that one time I got fired. Listen, I am the good girl. I'm the one who crosses her T's, dots her I's, checks all the boxes, and I got fired. I could not believe it. I share with you in this conversation what I learned very quickly about the situation that I should have known better than to stay. I talked about why I stayed. I talked about how one of my girlfriends was out, but I still stuck around. And I talk about patterns of behavior that this revealed for me and how you can see yourself in it. And so this is about 1 hour. So listen to it while you're washing dishes, while you're cooking dinner, while you're driving to work. Whatever you do, sis, you want to listen to this because it is truly, truly transformative. Now, I will say that throughout the live, you will hear me say, if you stay to the end, I have a special offer for you if you stay to the end. So because I'm uploading it over here, I'm going to say this. If you DM me, whenever you watch this, if you DM me, I got something for you. So DM me at Robin May Online on Instagram and say, Robin, you told me to DM you and I'll have a special offer for you. All right, let's go ahead. Go ahead. Listen to the video. Healing. Okay, my girl said, tell the story. Okay, I'm diving in. Let's break it down. Okay, so about 3 years ago, I was presented with this incredible opportunity, and it was presented to me by somebody that I highly trust, somebody who has been a superstar in my life, somebody who is still a superstar in my life, somebody that I consider a very, very good friend presented this opportunity to me. And the friend presented the opportunity to me because she had a relationship with this organization, and this organization had presented this opportunity to her for the people in her network and said, hey, do you have some people in your network that could benefit from this opportunity? So she started thinking about people, and I was one of them, and said, yeah, I think this person would be good. This person would be good. And they reached out to all of us. Like I said, it was a cohort. What we began to understand is that this program was a pilot program for this organization. Now, let me tell you, I'm not saying the name of the organization. Let me say it again. I'm not saying the name of the organization. I am going to talk in a high level way about the organization, but I'm not telling the name of the organization. Okay, so this organization, this was a pilot program for this organization. And I don't know that I knew that going in initially, but the more we got into the trenches, we began to realize, oh, we're the first people going through this program. Which is fine, I guess, but we began to understand that they didn't fully know what they were doing. And they were overselling, let me put it like that. So they presented this opportunity as extreme. Listen to me, y'all. This is very important. Remember, I told you you're going to find yourself in this. They presented this opportunity as extremely financially lucrative. Remember that. They presented this opportunity as extremely financially lucrative. And what we realized early on, very quickly, with that, what they presented, what they promised us, was not in alignment with what it was really going to be. Let me say that again. The offer wasn't aligned with what it really was going to be. But of course, we didn't know that initially. We're excited. It is a very diverse cohort. We're all excited. We're from all over. We're not all just in this area. We're from all over, and we're really excited about it. But like I said, very quickly, we began to realize, wait a minute. They have overhyped. Watch this. I have these notes in front of me. I wrote down, they overhyped the potential of income and undersold their expectations. Now, what I need you to understand, that this cohort were all people who were highly successful in their area of expertise. All of us were highly successful. We'd had some leverage under our belt. So this was really a win-win, a win for us and a win for them. They were getting getting these highly trained professionals. We were all highly trained professionals to participate in this program, but we also were promised a financial reward. Remember, I said that. Now, I said early on, most of us began to feel like, wait a minute, what they said this was isn't what it really is. And what I personally began to realize is that the demands and the expectations they had were not aligned with my core values. Now remember, I told you all, I'm not just doing a story time just to do it. I'm doing a story time because you are going to see yourself. That's why I want you to stick around, because I'm going to give some solid examples, okay? So what I began to realize is the demands and expectations that they had were not aligned with my core values. Now, let me back up for a moment. Let me tell you a little bit about that. I never thought I was going to be an entrepreneur. I am really risk adverse. I wasn't the entrepreneur in our family. My husband was. When we met, when we got married, I was working for a mega church in the area. I was working for a mega church, I was working for New Birth. I was working for New Birth. I was one of Bishop Eddie Long's assistants. I was working for a mega church. That's what my job was. And so I had a 9 to 5, right? And on Sundays. So I wasn't the entrepreneur. My husband and I had started a movie theater. He was a politician. I was not the entrepreneur. Well, at some point while I was working for Bishop Eddie Long, I decided to go back to school. And I went back to school and got my master's in professional counseling. And at that point, once I finished my program, I transitioned out of working for the church and started working as a mental health professional. So I need y'all to flow with me on this, because remember, I said for this organization, what they were asking of me were not aligned with my values. So I want you to follow this story. And so I had stopped working for the church. I was now working as a therapist, and I was working for a particular company. I have now been a therapist for 17 years. I don't know how when I'm only 25, but I have been a therapist now for 17 years. And so really 18, because my daughter Ryan just turned 18, so I need to start saying 18 years. And so at this point, when this opportunity, because remember I told y'all this was just 3 years ago, when this opportunity came about, this was after the pandemic. And so at that point, I had been technically working for myself for at least, 12 to 14 years. By the time this situation came about, I had technically been working for myself. Let me tell you what I mean by technically. This is important. I had been working for years under a psychiatrist that I was a contractor for, and I had no oversight. There was nobody who could tell me when to take off. There was nobody who could tell me how many hours I had to work. There was nobody who could tell me what kind of clients I needed to see. I just was working under the umbrella of this psychiatrist as a contractor. Now, this is important. Follow this story. At the time that this opportunity came about, this was right after the pandemic, like I said. And that particular company that I had been working for many, many years, at that point, I'd worked for that company almost 8 years, but under the umbrella of this psychiatrist with extreme flexibility, extreme freedom. I didn't check in with anybody. It had been 12, 15 years that I'd even ever had to ask somebody, could I take off from work? That was very important to me with the demands of my career, my speaking engagements, my husband's career, and my children. That was a high value for me. Freedom, flexibility, and autonomy were high values for me. Well, not the company that let me go, but the company that I used to work for was sold. That psychiatrist sold the company. When he sold the company, the new company came on and said, hey, we want to interview all of the therapists that you have on site to see if we want to bring them to this new practice. Flow with me on this, okay? keep the company that let me go over here. They have nothing to do with this right now. I'm just trying to tell you the mindset that I was in. So this company that I used to work for 8 years or so, the psychiatrist sold his company. He sold it to a new company. That company said, hey, we need to interview all of your therapists. Well, at that point, I had been a therapist for 14 years. And I felt like, you got to interview me? What do you have to interview me for? But okay. So we get on the interview and I hand to the Lord. They were asking me all these questions that let me know this is weird. Like, this is really going to be like a boss. I interrupted the interview, hand to God. I interrupted the interview. This was literally about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And I said, excuse me, can I ask you a question? And the lady said, sure. I said, if I wanted to take 2 weeks off from work, would I have to ask somebody for permission? Why? Because freedom, flexibility, and autonomy were high values for me when it came to my career. So I said, excuse me, if I needed to take 2 weeks off, would I have to ask somebody for permission? The lady was so confused. She was like, well, I guess we would try to work with you, but yeah, you have to ask. And I said, thank you so very much. And she said, you don't have, I said, no, I'm done. Thank you. Cause I already knew this wasn't going to be for me. Cause in that season of my life, and I'm going to tell y'all now, I could change that. Let me tell y'all, don't tell any of my clients this. Don't tell them because they don't like when I say this, but I really have this dream of working for an airline. I have a dream of working for an airline as their on the spot therapist so that I can get free flights. If any of y'all got to hook up, DM me. If anybody works for Delta, American, Southwest, DM me. Because see, if they pay good enough, I'll come on over there so I can get flight benefits. Okay, so I need y'all to understand that was the mindset that I was in. That the couple of days later, that company still offered me the job. After I had said, no, thank you, they still offered me the job and I turned them down because freedom, flexibility, and autonomy were high values for me. And at that point, I knew I could go on about building my practice. Okay, so let's go back to this company over here to let me go. So now this is all happening at the same time. I am looking at this new opportunity with this company. Now I still have my private practice by now because I've gone out solo. I had been pretty much solo, but now it is just me, nobody over me. I'm not working under a psychiatrist. It is my company. Now that's where I am. So then this opportunity shows up. So y'all following me. Okay, so I knew that when this new company started having these demands on us and the money wasn't matching what they said it was going to be, and they were requiring a lot of our time, y'all. They were requiring a lot of our time. You got to be on this meeting and then you got to get on this training and y'all weren't paying us for that. And me taking the time away from my caseload that I am getting paid for to do this when you're not even paying us for this time. And the financial reward isn't looking like what you said it was going to be. I was thinking, no, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. But watch this. Here's the key. I stayed anyway. Despite the red flags that I saw, all of that I just explained to you, all that big bad talking that I was doing, I stayed anyway. Even though I saw that it was not honoring my deepest values, I stayed anyway. Now, there are 3 solid reasons why I stayed, and I'm about to walk y'all through. Yes, Phyllis said bondage. I'm about to tell y'all the 3. I told you, you're going to see yourself in this story, but I'm going to tell you the 3 solid reasons I stayed. Now, I'm about to speak for my girl, but Christina, as I'm talking, I want you can go ahead and comment and share it from your perspective so that even people who come on later can share. But I want to highlight highlight my girl, Christina. She's on here now, and she was a part of the cohort with me. And when I was thinking about doing this live, I started texting her and asking her to remind me of some things. And one of the things, y'all hear me, one of the things I asked her, because early on when we all started feeling like, something ain't right about this. This is not right. I'm about to share with you the 3 solid reasons I stayed. But I asked my girl, and I remembered her telling me this back then, but again, it's been so long. I voice noted her and I said, girl, remind me of what made you leave. And this is what she said. And y'all, I'm the pastor's wife. I'm the teacher of the Bible. I've been a church girl since I was born. But this is what my girl said. She said, I trusted God. Woo! When I asked her, I said, because very early on, she said, oh, thank you to them. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate you all so much. I'm going to bow out. And my girl got on up out of there. So I voice noted her the other day and I said, remind me of why you left. She said, because I trusted God. She said, I knew what they were doing was not right. She said, integrity is a high value for me. She said, and this was not integral. What they said it was going to be is not what it was. And so I'm out. But there was 3 reasons I stayed. Yes, girl, Christina was out. There were 3 reasons I stayed. And I want to walk y'all through this. Because see, this is where I get, one of the things you all hear me say all the time is that freed women free women. See, watching Christina's boldness to be out was very empowering to me, but also it was empowering, but it also caused me to ask myself the tough questions. And so this might be an area that I needed to grow, but there are other areas that I can help somebody else grow. So let me share with y'all the 3 reasons why I stayed. Remember to stay to the very end because I have a special offer for you all. 3 reasons. Number 1, I kept hoping things were going to improve. I kept thinking, no, they're going to get it together, y'all. They're going to get it together. Come on, y'all, let's do it. That is so me. Come on, y'all, let's do it. I kept thinking things were going to improve. Number 2, this is very important. I had a different relationship with the friend that brought us all in. I had a different relationship with her. This is my personal friend. She and I are very close. And baby, once you're my friend, I protect friendship at all costs. And I was afraid that it would look bad on her if I bounced. Loyalty is a high value for me. I need y'all to stick around. So number 1, my cheerleader mindset, come on, they're going to improve. Number 2, loyalty. The thought of doing something to jeopardize my girl kept me a lot longer. And I'm going to tell you what she said about that. What my girl who brought us in, what she said about that. But here is the 3rd reason. The financial promise was so significant. And I have to remember that financial mindsets can keep me stuck. Finances can be a trap for me. Now, somebody need to say amen, because that may not be your trap, but you got a trap. There is something that keeps you stuck longer than you need to. Now, I'm about to talk about one aspect of this, but right now I'm going to drop this on you. There is a term that I coach my coaching clients through, and it's called PDP. PDP. It's your personal dysfunctional pattern. We all have a personal dysfunctional pattern, and you have to know yours. When you don't know your personal dysfunctional pattern, you will stay in situations, or you will find yourself revisiting situations over and over again. So the question I want you to ask yourself is, what is your trap? Finances may not be your trap. What is the thing that can get you stuck? What is the pattern that you keep yourself on? So remember, I told you there were 3 reasons why I stayed. Even though I saw that it was not honoring my values, I'm going to talk about this in a minute. There were 3 reasons I stayed. Number 1, I kept hoping it would improve. Number 2, my loyalty to my girl. I didn't want to jeopardize her. And then 3, that financial dollar bills that were holding over. Even though I saw that it wasn't financially lucrative, I kept thinking, nah, baby. No, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. That's why Christina, she put her reason for leaving. But when she said, I trust God, y'all, that was so like, wow. Because she said the same guy who bought this opportunity is the same guy that will bring another. And that did not free me. Because I kept thinking, but I know when I look back over my life, the scarcity mindset can keep me trapped, because it's not about the dollar bills. It's the scarcity mindset. I need you to stop looking at me. Stop looking at me, sis. What is the thing that can keep you trapped? Okay, so I got so much more to share with you all. Okay, so remember I said there were 3 reasons why I stayed. But then, even though I stayed, the other part of me really started to rise up. And I'm going to talk about that now. Even though I stayed, I have a personality that fights for justice. Most of the people who know me in my personal life would say that I'm not about it. I'm not the girl who gonna pop off. I'm not gonna get in your face. That's just not me. But baby, let me see that there is an injustice, and Robin May is gonna speak up. Y'all, when I was in high school, that's when Rodney King became prevalent, the whole Rodney King situation. As a matter of fact, one of my line names is Rodney King in my sorority, because I'm going to speak up. I'm going to say, can we all just get along? I'm going to be the one speaking up for what's not right. Hey, can everybody just get along? That's me. And when I was in high school, I was so moved by the Rodney King situation. I started a petition. I got 100 signatures. I had people that I didn't even know signing this petition. I wrote a letter to the LAPD, the LAPD police chief. I wrote a letter to the mayor. They responded back to me because I felt like that ain't fair. That's not right. And so even though I stayed, my girl's on here preaching, but even though I stayed, y'all, I started speaking up in every meeting. I'm like, hey guys, question. One of the things, like, I kept speaking up. I had so much to say because I'm realizing, wait a minute, what you all said this was, I'm about to tell you how I got fired. What y'all said this was is not what it is. So I was constantly speaking up. Now watch this. How I spoke up was not disrespectful. I was not combative. I just was voicing my concerns. I was asking the questions. Now I will tell you, everybody just get a sip of your tea. Come on. My friend is on here. Hey, Suzanne. So one of the things that often happens for me, hear me, this happens time and time again with me, and I see it happening, and I still let it happen. I'm often the one who's going to say something when everybody else is quiet. I'm going to be the one who's going to say something. Now, I'm not going to be the one in your face. I'm not going to pop off. But I'm going to say, hey. So I'm going to add, it's been me since I was a little girl. And so I kept speaking up. But like I said, I was not rude. I was not disrespectful. Now, what we have to understand is that you know your intention. But I told you it's going to be a lot of lessons for you all. Write this down. You know your intention, but you do not know how others are experiencing you. Let me say it again. You know your intention, but you do not know how others are experiencing you. And for those of you who say, I don't care how other people experience me, that's problematic. That could cause you to have issues in friendships and relationships. You absolutely should care. Should you be obsessed? Absolutely not. But we are not living on Isolation Island. That is why a little bit of truth with a big lie is very dangerous. And what we have learned is I can just speak my truth. Their interpretation of my truth is not on me, it's on them. There's enough truth in that to make it dangerous. Because if people have had an experience with you, and you are presenting a certain way, it is not just their interpretation, it's your reputation. Hey friend, I wanted to jump in real quick and say that if what I'm sharing with you is resonating with you, if you're tired of just surviving or living on overdrive, I want to invite you to the experience that I am hosting in July. I'm not okay. And that's okay. This is going to be a time where we're going to learn how to gently reset our nervous system, to tell the truth about how we feel, to talk about what it means to really rest. And that's not just sleep. That's the kind of rest that restores your heart, that restores your mind, and restores your body. Listen, even if you are watching this well after the experience, it won't be too late for you. All I want you to do is go to robinmayonline.com/time4you, or it's right here in the description. I want to walk alongside you as you heal and live well. I'll see you soon. I'm going to pause there. It's not just their interpretation, it's your reputation. And so you are going around leaving a trail of bloody people who are hurt by you, and you are getting away with it by saying that that's just their interpretation. I can't. Well, that's disrespectful. And that's going to keep you from having solid relationships, because people don't want to engage with someone who cares nothing about their impact. You know your intention, but you don't know how others are experiencing you. And so if I'm going to say that, I got to hold the mirror up to myself. And so I am telling you all that I was not disrespectful. I was not rude, but I made sure I checked in. My girl, Christina, I checked in with her. As I remember back then we talked about it, and it wasn't just she and I, it was a cohort of us. But I asked my girl again when we were talking about that, and I said, do you remember the woman who was over us? She just didn't like me. She was very hostile toward me. She was like, yes. My girl, Christina, was like, yeah, Robin. She was like, you would ask questions, and she would definitely have a hard time with you. So much so, I'm not going to say her name. I'm going to give an example, though. Let's say it was a man, and let's say his name was Daniel. One day I said, hey, Dan, I want to ask you a quick question. It's Daniel. Or let's say I said, Michael, I want to ask you a quick question. No, I said, Mike, I want to ask you a quick question. He said, it's Michael. That her name is something like that. And I used a very common shorthand, and she was nasty to the point where everybody was like, she did not like me. And I didn't want to gaslight myself, right? I tell people all the time, don't gaslight yourself. Sometimes we're sensing something and we're feeling something, and we will gaslight ourselves and convince ourselves that's not what it is. And so I wasn't going to gaslight myself. My people said, she does not like you. Okay. So I'm getting to how I was fired. So I wanted you all to remember there is a lot of lessons in this for you. What is the thing that can trap you up? I told you that scarcity mindset can trap me up. It can keep me stuck. It can keep me in a situation. And so that's my PDP. But I want to tell you all, thank you, Chris. She said nasty for no reason. That girl did not like me. And so much so, I was telling my husband that I was going to do this conversation. And I said, do you remember that? He said, all I remember, it was that this woman, she didn't like you, and you finally had to get with her. So how did I get fired? That particular time, I think or it might have been a little bit after that, we had another meeting. Now listen, I have no problem with having meetings if you paying me a significant amount of money, and we have put that in the contract, and we put that in the employee agreement. Yeah, we were on so many meetings, and when I am in a meeting, that's taking away from a clinical hour, and I get paid for clinical hours. And so y'all were constantly wanting us to be in these meetings that we weren't getting paid for, but I would be on the meeting, and the meetings would just go on and on. I could say so much about that. But this particular time, she was just so nasty with me that I asked to have a meeting with her because I'm not going to get combative with you on the Zoom. So I said, can we have a meeting? We get on this meeting, and y'all, it was just she and I. She talked so condescending to me. She was so disrespectful. She was very minimizing. And I turned on. Now, the way I turn on, I become very dogmatic. I become fixated. I get very intense. Now, I'm not cursing. I'm not doing anything like that. So I want to paint a full picture because it's not like I sit back innocently. She's coming at me. So finally, I'm coming back at her as well. And this conversation gets very intense. And she says to me, I don't think that you're a good fit for this environment. Could not believe it. She says, I don't think you are a good fit for this environment. I said, what? Yo, I could not believe it. Now this is after she has been extremely nasty. And mind you, I had been doing this work probably longer than she had. And she was very condescending to me. I was like, do you need to Google me? Do you need to Google me? Because you're acting like I don't know what I'm talking about. One thing about it, I'm going to point out to you all my insecurities, but I'm also going to let y'all know I'm a bad girl. I can tell you the stuff I need to work on. I can tell you the scarcity mindset that I can have. But baby, I can help you change your life. I can help you see some things you may not see about you. I can help you elevate not just what you do, but who you are. Spend 30 minutes with me and I can guarantee you your life is going to shift. And so when she was talking to me very condescending, I said, ma'am, you don't know who I am. And homegirl, I guess she said, I sure don't care. Because she said, you are no longer a fit for this environment. I don't think you fit with this culture. Y'all, I could not believe it. Homegirl let me go. I was so shook. Somebody tell her to Google me. Google me. You must not know who I am, sis. I have this running joke with my line sisters because I tell them all the time, y'all don't know who y'all got. They be like, Robin, we all the bomb, okay? Sit down somewhere. And so she let me go. There's something I really want to get to with this. Remember, I want you to stay with me to the end because I have a special offer for you all. But there's another lesson in this I want you all to get. But I need y'all to understand, I'm laughing about this now, but it was devastating. Because remember, I was very concerned about my girlfriend. My loyalty is a high strength for me. This is where I'm going to give y'all a lesson so you can see you. Loyalty is something that I value deeply. So now I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm about to mess this up for my friend. As I was talking about preparing to talk about this, I sent out an email to my database and one of my girlfriends is on my email. And so she marked me with all these laughing emojis. She said, girl, I'm so glad we over that because we went through it. My friends went through it with me. And one of my girlfriends said this. She said, Robin, I couldn't understand why you were so devastated about her letting you go because you were ready to go anyway. She said, truth be told, you were just mad that she did it before you could do it. And I think that was it. I've never been let go from anything. I've always been the girl who does everything right. I check the boxes. I cross the T's. I dot the I's. I'm the one getting A's. I'm the one performing well. And for you to let me go when you were the one who's in the wrong, remember, I have a high value for justice. And so here I am speaking up for everybody else, and you get away with letting me go. I was devastated. But what I learned is that wasn't the first time that I have ignored the inner voice telling me that something wasn't right. I had a pattern because of my loyalty. I have a pattern. Hear me. I want you all to take this lesson. This is called your strength sabotage. And I'm going to give you about 4 examples of this for you to see you. But I'm going to start with me. my strength. Somebody write strength sabotage. I want you to go after this and I want you to ask your friends. I want you to ask somebody to help you see your strength sabotage. What is that? Your strength sabotage is the thing that is your strength when overused begins to sabotage you. So loyalty is a strength. It's something I'm very proud of. But what happens is that I can allow my loyalty to keep me in situations long after the time has expired. And I end up getting the short end of the stick because I have stayed longer than I needed to stay. Y'all, this has happened in jobs. I cannot tell you how it has happened in jobs. It has happened in friendship. My gosh. It's happened in friendships so many times where I have stayed in a situation longer than I needed to. The red flags are flashing. The lights are flashing. Everything is saying, Robin, it's time to wrap it up. But here's me. No, I'm loyal. Remember I told you I was going to tell you what my girlfriend, remember I felt a certain something because the person who brought us on, I was probably the only one who had an intimate friendship with her. So I get fired. I call her the next day because I hadn't been telling her any of this because again, my girl is a big deal and I just didn't want to bother her with this. And so I hadn't told her any of this. I called her boohoo crying the next day, like boohoo crying. I know she was like, Robin. It's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sensitive, y'all. I'm way more sensitive than people think. So I'm boohoo crying. And she said, Robin, I trust you. This is what my girl told me. She said, I trust you. If you had told me day one, this is what they said it was going to be, I would have told you to leave. She said, Robin, I trust you. If you had told me day one that this is what they were saying, I would have told you to leave. So watch this. My loyalty to my friend kept me in a situation longer than she would have even asked me to. I told you I wanted to help you all see you. So I'm going to give you some other examples so that you don't just think about me. I have a girlfriend, and I told her I was going to use her as an example. I'm not going to say her name, but she is a high performer. She is a high performer. And so when I have helped her identify her value system, she has a high value for performance, and she has a high value for achievement. It drives her. And those are good things, right? Remember, those are a strength. Performance and achievement. She's going to knock it out the park. But what often happens is that she ties her identity to her ability to achieve and perform. Don't just think about my girlfriend, think about you. She ties her identity to how well she achieves and performs well. She has found herself in career environments where there are roadblocks that are beyond anything that she can overcome. They are cultural or inherent roadblocks that are beyond what she can perform or achieve. And so what happens is that she starts to feel bad about who she is because her need to achieve and perform keeps her stuck way longer than she needs to. So your thing may not be loyalty. Maybe yours is performance and achievement. I'm going to come down somebody else's street. Don't worry about it. I'm going to come down your street. I have another person in my life who, this is not even about work. She has a huge heart. She has great empathy and great grace. Great empathy and great, it don't matter. She can have grace for some of the craziest things. She has deep empathy. And so she has found herself staying in romantic situations much longer than she needs to because she says, you know what? This person has been through so much. I can just understand. I can understand why. And so I just want to show love and consistency. So it keeps her stuck. That's a strength. Grace and empathy is a beautiful gift, but it keeps her stuck. I have another person that I know who is a servant. This girl is just a servant. Honey, if you cough, she running to get a tissue. If you act like you got a need, she's jumping in there. But that servant's heart causes her to overextend herself time and time again, jumping in even when somebody hasn't asked her to, and then jumping in when they haven't asked her to, and then jumping in when they haven't asked her to. And the next thing she knows, she's overextended, worn out, and exhausted because that strength, that servant's heart has kept her stuck in situations way longer than she needs to. I told you I don't do story times just to do story times. There's something in this for you to see yourself. What is your strength sabotage? See, listen, this is what happens with women. We have so much going on. We're juggling so much. We're navigating so many things that we don't take time to slow our lives down long enough to evaluate why we show up the way we do. We don't slow our lives down long enough to understand our own patterns. I love clients that I've worked with for years because I'm able to see their patterns. I did a YouTube video called Doing the Robin where I talked about you discovering your patterns. So you've heard me earlier talk about your personal dysfunctional pattern. It's that thing that can keep you in toxic situations, or it's a pattern of behavior that shows up over and over again. This is different. This is your strength. And you're like, Robin, it's good that I'm loyal. Robin, it's good that I'm empathetic. Robin, it is good that I want to have high achievement. Robin, it's good that I have a servant's heart. And it is. But the Lord tells us that even that thing that is good outside of his hands is no good. Ooh, somebody write that down. Even that thing that you're calling good when it's outside of his hand is no good. You have to even consecrate your good thing. The Bible says don't throw your pearls before swine. See, many of us are throwing our pearls before swine and we're wondering why we're exhausted. Listen, it's not about them. It's not about this company that let me go. I needed to see me. It might be happening to me, but it's not always about me. It is not always about them. You got to slow your life down to see how you are contributing to the chaos in your life. I'm telling you, it ain't your husband. It ain't your best friend. It ain't the president. You got to figure out how you are contributing to the chaos in your own life. So I realized once I got let go, y'all, oh my gosh, I have so much more. Oh, I got to tell y'all one more thing. Don't leave. Remember, stay to the end because this last part I got to tell y'all. But y'all, I pulled up the letter. I pulled up the letter that I wrote to her. No, I didn't write it to her. Let me take that back. I didn't write the letter to her. I wrote the letter to her boss. Y'all. And when I read this, it brought up so much intense pain for me. Look at how long this letter is. Ooh. Let me take that off because somebody's going to screenshot that. Oof. Okay. So I hate I did that. So I put in this letter, I put full parts and why I was upset and what she did, because I didn't like the fact, watch this. I didn't like the fact that she was going to get away with a narrative about me that wasn't true. Y'all want to know another thing that can keep me stuck? My reputation matters to me. And I didn't want her to get away with being able to tell a story about me. Okay, so I talked about strength sabotage. Your strength sabotage is the thing that can keep you stuck. But this is the last thing I want to share. And then I'm going to tell you all the offer I have for you all. I hope you can see what your own strength sabotage is. I named a few, but it's whatever is your strength when overused can begin to sabotage you. In the workshop that I'm hosting on July 19th, I'm going to give you a whole worksheet. I'm going to give you a whole breakdown for you to go through and figure out for yourself. Questions to ponder, questions to ask your family and friends so that you can figure it out for yourself. But here's another thing that's very important. Then I'm going to be done. I promise I'm going to be done after this. The other thing that's important for you to consider is, remember, I have a high value for freedom, flexibility, and autonomy. Freedom, flexibility, and autonomy. Those are high values for me. But I also have a high value for financial security and loyalty. So my values were contradicting one another. And because my values were contradicting one another, I was having a hard time sorting through what I needed to do. Because I wanted freedom and flexibility and autonomy. But I also have a high value for financial security and loyalty. And so I want to walk you through the 3 things you need to do if that is you. All of us have that. Our values can contradict one another. My girlfriend, who has the high value of performance and achievement, that's driving her. But she also has a high value for respect. And she feels like those things are being, are conflicting. The term is cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. When there are conflicting feelings or conflicting beliefs, how do you sort through it? I believe this, I also believe this, and these 2 things are contradicting one another. I have a high value for freedom and flexibility, but I also have a high value for loyalty. These 2 things are contradicting one another. What do? Number 1, you have to name it. One of the things I find is that we are so busy presenting a certain picture, or we're so busy that we don't pause our life. We can't even name it. We can't even name what we're feeling. And some of you have not even named your core and character values. We're going to talk about that at the work. I don't even want to call it a workshop. It's an experience. But we're going to talk about your character and your core values. Those are 2 different things. What are your character values and what are your core values? If you don't even know them, you won't be able to name what the dissonance is. Dissonance is the discomfort, the unsettled feeling you have. Some of you are having an unsettled feeling and you can't pinpoint it. It's because you haven't even named your core or character values. So first, you have to be honest. You got to name what's happening. Number 2, you have to ask yourself, what is the cost for sacrificing either of these values? What is the cost for sacrificing freedom and flexibility? What is the price my family is going to pay? What is the price I'm going to pay for my peace of mind? Okay, hold on. What is the price I'm going to pay if I'm not loyal? What is the price I'm going to pay if I don't have the financial security? I spoke with somebody today, and she was talking about freedom and flexibility, but we were also talking about financial security. And she was like, this job is not giving me the freedom and flexibility that I want. And I said, well, quit. I said, quit. Robin, I'm not quitting. I said, why not? Because I need to pay my mortgage. So these values are contradicting each other. What do you need to do? What is the price you're going to pay if you sacrifice either one of these values? And is there a way to, in some capacity, honor both? So as we kept talking about it, sis is working 20 hours overtime. Did y'all hear me? She is sometimes working 20 hours of overtime. Well, sis, we're going to have to figure out, are you overcounting this financial security at the price of freedom and flexibility? You have to be able to figure out what is the price you're paying. So number 1, you got to know it. What are your character and core values? You got to name it. Then you got to figure out, what is the price I'm paying to sacrifice either one of those. And number three, you have to find community. You have to find people who are willing to tell you the truth and help you see what you can't see. When my girl Christina said, I trust God, I didn't leave right away, but that planted a seed in me. When I'm talking to my girlfriends about it after I was fired, my girlfriends were like, "Probably, but why are you tripping? You were ready to go anyway." When I talked to my girlfriend who brought me the opportunity, she said, "I trust you. What are you doing?" And so now if I'm in a situation like that again, I know that I don't have to sacrifice in that way. And so you got to find community. We were not meant for isolation island. So I've talked about a lot. I talked about how I got in the situation. I talked about my values and how they began to contradict. I talked about how I began to realize, wait a minute, that's that PDP. My personal dysfunctional pattern was keeping me there. My strength sabotage. I have this strength, but it was keeping me stuck much, much longer than I needed to. And so I want you to see yourself. What is the pattern of behavior that has kept you stuck much longer and kept you in situations that were unhealthy for you? What is your toxic pattern? And I need you to hear me, sis. Lean in. Get you a sip of your tea. Because I don't want you to get mad at me. But you have a toxic pattern. And have you given your friends permission to tell you the truth about yours? Because maybe you can't see it, but others around you can see what you can't see. There is a term called Johari, the Johari window. And the Johari window talks about the fact that we all have a blind spot. There are things about you that everybody else can see, but you can't see it. That's why I said, you may know your intention, but you don't know how others are experiencing you. And so I want you to ask the people in your life, is there a pattern that I have? Baby, when my friends ask me that, I'm like, let's go. Because the same friends, I can tell you all the things that are amazing about them, and I can tell you their areas of growth. And I give them permission to do the same with me. So what is your dysfunctional pattern? But then what's your strength sabotage? What's that thing that's your strength, when overused, can keep you in unhealthy situations? So as promised, I told you all, if you stay to the end, and even if you're listening to this in replay before midnight tonight, if you go ahead and register for I'm Not Okay, and It's Okay. I'm Not Okay, and It's Okay. You can click the link in my bio or go to robinmayonline.com/time4you. If you go ahead and register tonight, by midnight tonight, I personally will upgrade you to the elevated experience. Let me tell you about the workshop and then we're done. I keep calling it a workshop, but it's really an experience. It's going to be a safe space for you to breathe, for you to tune into your heart, for you to see yourself, for you to process, for you to journal, for you to discover your values, for you to discover your strengths, for you to discover how those things are serving you, for you to discover how those things are sabotaging you. I'm going to help you understand your core language. It's so powerful. When you know your core language, you can understand what is happening in your life. I'm not going to go into it now. We're going to talk about how to build community, because see, a lot of people are unwilling to admit that they are having a hard time finding those solid friendships. We're going to talk about how to build community. We are going to talk about the story you tell yourself and how your stories could be true, but maybe they're not. I'm going to talk about your family dynamic and how mama them and the role you played way back then is the role you're playing now. I'm going to give you specific strategies. This is not general. I'm going to give you specific strategies that you can take with you on your journey. Why am I doing this? Because I know a lot of us are not okay. We're great. We're going to talk about gratitude and grief. I am grateful, God, for all the things you are doing and all the ways you're showing up and all the ways you have been so faithful. I can name all of these things, but God, my heart is broken because there's some things happening in my life where my life isn't quite where I thought it was going to be. I'm grateful, God, but I am grieving what I thought my life was going to be. I'm grateful, but I'm grieving this loss, physical, relational, mental. I'm grieving some things. There's some things that have happened to me that I'm still having a hard time dealing with. So I'm grateful, but I'm grieving. We're going to talk about that tension. I'm going to normalize. I'm so passionate about this. I'm going to normalize that tension. I know that a lot of us are not okay. And it's okay. You don't have to be okay. I'm not okay. And it's okay. It's going to be okay. And I got your back. And watch this. What's so special about it? Nobody even going to know you're on. Just me and the admin, who I haven't even selected yet, who's going to be helping me. Nobody's going to even have to know you're on, unless you want to participate in the elevated experience. The experience is on the 19th of July from 10 a.m. to 12:30. But immediately after the experience is over, I'm going to get on a face-to-face Zoom with those who invested in the elevated experience, so that you can ask me any questions, so that we can dialogue. For those who kind of want community, those who want to connect with me, those who want to explore a little bit further, we're going to get on a live immediately, or Zoom immediately after the experience. So if you're watching this now, if you watch this before midnight tonight, I am going to personally tomorrow go in and elevate you to the elevated experience. That's a different price point. The experience is only $47, and you get 7 days of the replay. So even if you can't get on at that time, you'll still catch the replay. But those who invest tonight, I am going to upgrade you to the elevated experience, which means you get lifetime access to the experience well after it's over. You'll get a specialized access to be able to watch it whenever you want to from now on, and you'll be able to get on the Zoom with me immediately following. So go ahead and register today, robinmayonline.com/time for you by 12 a.m. by midnight. Those of you who sign up will go in there and figure out that it'll show us the time, and I'm personally going to go in and upgrade you to the elevated experience. I hope this blessed you. And listen, even if you're not going to invest in the I'm not okay and it's okay experience, although I don't know why you wouldn't. I don't know why you wouldn't, honey, because baby, when I felt the Lord tell me this, I was right over here in my, can I show y'all this? I was right here. This is where I have my, ooh, how messy is it over there? Okay. That's where I have my quiet time. I was right there. And the Lord dropped this on my heart. I don't know why you wouldn't invest in it. But even if you aren't, can you just share it? Can you go and find the announcement for it and just share it to your stories, to your timeline? Tell people you don't want to say, that's my girl. You don't want to miss this. I hope this blessed you. Share this live, honey. I done put myself out there. I done told about the time I got fired. And the truth is, I got fired because I ignored that little voice inside of me that was saying, girl, this ain't for you. This is not for you. This is not for you. I've enjoyed this time with you all. DM me any questions that you all have. I want to keep talking. So, hey friend, I want to take a moment to talk to the woman who's been holding it all together. Let me describe you so you can know I'm talking about you. You're the strong one. You're the dependable one. You're the one people come to for prayer, for advice, for help. You're the one people really admire because it looks like you got it going on, because you keep going, even though sometimes you wonder how. But if you're honest, you're tired. And girl, I'm not just talking about the sleepy tired, although you might be that tired as well, but I'm talking about a soul level tired. You're overwhelmed, but you keep showing up. Listen, you're grateful. You look around and you know things could be worse. You're grateful, but you're frustrated. You're blessed, but you're still battling something beneath the surface, and a lot of people might not even realize it. You probably even found yourself saying something like, I should be okay. Now, let me tell you that word should is a cognitive distortion, but we're not going to even get into that. That thought keeps showing up though. I should be okay. But what if you're not? And what if that's okay? Now, if any of that resonated with you, I've created something super special because listen, I have been there, truth be told. Sometimes I'm still there. And so I wanted to create a space for women who can relate to that. And so it is called I'm Not Okay, and That's Okay. It's a virtual experience for the woman who is looking for some space, a safe space, a space to heal, a space to breathe, even if just for a moment. This is a space for us. There is no pressure for you to perform. There's no need for you to pretend. This is my opportunity to pour into you, to help you learn what it means to take a deep breath. Now, I want you to know this is not a class. This is not a conference. This is a virtual experience that's going to give you space to just exhale, to give you space to tell yourself the truth. Can I repeat that? To give you space to tell yourself the truth, to reconnect with your soul, to be quiet long enough to hear what your heart is saying. Listen, the Bible says God often speaks in a quiet, still voice, but if our life is so loud, we can't hear it. Again, this is virtual. It's intimate. Nobody even has to know that you're on. This is faith filled. We're going to walk through some scripture. We're going to get practical strategies. I am going to pull in all of my expertise as a therapist, as a Bible teacher, as a woman of faith, just all the things. I'm going to pull it in, and I want you to be there. And I want your homegirls to be there too. I say all the time, we brunch together, we travel together. Surely we can heal together. If this is for you, I want you to go to robinmayonline.com/time for you. You can also look in the description of this video. The link will be there. And I cannot wait to see you on July 19th. Make sure you tag your sister friends. We're going to do this together.